Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we got a fun video. We're going to be counting down my top 10 favorite Pokemon. And not just any Pokemon, it's going to be from Generation 1, the very beginning, back where I started, in the 90s, and I saw it everywhere. I loved watching the shows, got into the games. If we're going to start with these, we're going to do it in order. So, eventually I'd love to cover all the generations and all different Pokemon, because there's some heavy hitters in every generation, and of course some stinkers. But yeah, today we're gonna get to my top 10 favorite Pokemon. So we're gonna go in order from the 10th to number 1, and I'll have some honorable mentions at the end. So before we get into it, please guys, if you're interested in my content, please think about subscribing. Also, like that video, really helps me out. And please comment down below, tell me what your favorites are, if you agree with mine, or if you have some completely other ones that I didn't even write down on my own list. Alright guys, let's get into it with number 10. So I got here Mr. Mime. I'm going to start off pretty controversial. I know Mr. Mime isn't everyone's cup of tea. He's a clown. Clowns are divisive. They're somewhat scary. There's it, and there's Mr. Mime. Are they the same? Perhaps. But I think Mr. Mime is underrated. I think he's actually pretty strong, like stats-wise. Especially when he gets his evolution, but we'll get there. But in Gen 1, like, he's a psychic type, which is super, super strong and super OP. But besides that, I just find him so quirky and funny. In the anime, him, like, being Ash's mom's, like, little maid, and funny, and the way he, like, the sounds he makes, I just love it. So that's why Mr. Mime is on my list, number 10. Next up on the list, number 9, we got an Eeveelution, and this is my second favorite Eeveelution. We'll see later where the number 1 is, but this is Jolteon. Jolteon to me is the epitome of like a cool and cute Pokemon put together. He's cute because he's like a small like dog, and you just want to he's just like your friend, but he's also so cool with like the really sharp little like needles on him. And I just think for an Eeveelution, he's for a electric type, sorry. I feel like they just perfected his design to a T. Also, I love using him in different games. I've definitely used him multiple times. And I don't see myself not using him again for electric types. He's definitely up at the top tier list for electric types for me. Alright, so now number 8. This is another interesting I find is just so derpy and strange. I tend to like the weird Pokemon, to be honest, the weird characters in general in most games. I don't go for like the mainstream popular ones generally, but Muck is just one of those like funny, intentionally or not, especially in the anime when he has that kind of running gag where he like piles over Professor Oak and just like hunts him down and just like covers his whole body with him. And Muck is just, it's also very strong in the game, and later when he gets his was Alolan form, also very, very powerful. Almost no weaknesses there. Alright, on to number 7. Continuing on with my unique tastes, I have Tangela. So Tangela is interesting. It's basically like, well, it's a grass type because it's basically a ball of vines. Then it got some big red shoes with some eyes peering through the vines. It's so bizarre, but like the epitome of so bad it's great, you know what I mean? Anyways, I just love it. It's just so quirky and weird, and also for a single stage Pokemon, pretty good stats. Nothing to scoff at. So that's why Tangela is at number 7. On to number 6. I kind of have 2 Pokemon here, but the reason why is because they're on the same line, and I couldn't really choose between the 2, and that would be Bellsprout and Victreebel from this grass poison line. I like them for different reasons. For Bellsprout, I just find it so cute, and I really loved how they had that Bellsprout in the anime, the one in the, I think it's the Pokemon League, I think it's Gen 1, where it's just like, doing those little, like, matrix, like, dodging moves around that Pokemon, I think it was Pikachu. Oh, it was just so hilarious. And then for Victreebel, need I say more? James's Victreebel is hilarious. Every time it comes out, it just swallows him whole with that piercing cry. I just cried literally of laughter every time. So this is why these 2 are here at number 6. All right, so we got number 5. So this is my number 1 favorite Eeveelution of all time. We have Vaporeon. I mean, I feel like this thing is just majestic, elegant. The design is so perfect. It has enough elements to make it interesting, but it doesn't overdo it with adding too much, I feel. It's like a fish mermaid with, you know, like a dog in a way, because all the Eeveelutions kind of have that dog-like feature or shape. So I just think the aesthetic, the look, the typing, the stats also very, very good, super tanky. So if you're going for a solid water type, I would go with Vaporeon. All right, now we're on to number 4. So this is my only legendary on the list, and I love this Pokemon. It is majestic as heck. It is Articuno. So Articuno is one of, obviously, the 3 legendary birds from Kanto, alongside Zapdos and Moltres, but Articuno is my number 1. I really like ice types, but I also find it just, the design, his aesthetic, it's just really, really suits him, and I think it just looks the best. I think Zapdos looks a bit too like chickeny, and so does Moltres. They both look a bit too kind of odd, whereas I think Articuno looks the most majestic, and you know, every time I see it, I need to catch it. So that's why Articuno is here at number 4. Now we got here number 3, who is the bronze medalist on my list, and that would be my favorite starter of the generation, which is Bulbasaur. I absolutely love Bulbasaur. I think he's so cute. I love just the way he is, like a frog with like a little like leaf that becomes like a flower, and I think he's super feisty in the anime, which I really fell in love with. And I think I tend to go for grass types in my starters, but we'll have to see as the generations go along which ones I've chosen more so. But just of the 3, I just fell in love with Bulbasaur the most. It's just something you can't always pinpoint. Now we're going on to my number 2, and now this is gonna get really like, this is like the elite of the elite for me. This is Horsea, the little sea horse, sea dragon Pokemon of Gen 1. This is probably the Pokemon that I first fell in love with ever. When I watched the anime and I saw Misty's Horsea, I instantly, you know, was obsessed. I just think it's so cute, so adorable. I just wanted to take care of it. We know the anime when it gets injured and his little eye has a little bruise, and then he tries to like help everybody by like squirting the ink, so it gets them, the Team Rockets, found out so that he basically saves the day. And I was just so happy, and I was so proud of the little Horsea, and ever since I've always loved it. I love its evolution too, Kingdra, so we'll get to there. But for this gen, Horsea, just love it so much. I even have a Horsea plushie, as well as the number 1, which we'll get to soon. But yeah, this is why Horsea, the water type, is number 2 on my list. Alright, so before we get to my number 1 favorite Pokemon of Generation 1, I have some honorable mentions. Golem, the giant rock golem creature. I like him. I think his design is solid. Number 2 for honorable mentions, we got Dodrio. I just think it's just funny. I always laugh every time I see it. I just, you know, even in the wild, I just have to catch it just because I just think it's funny. I love the 3 battling heads for each other episode when they had the race, and then they could have won, but then they kept fighting over the food. I just loved it. And then the 3rd would be Kabutops, just because I think it's fucking sick. It's super cool. Probably my favorite fossil type, which, you know, I don't love generally the fossil Pokemon, but Kabutops is, you know, pretty cool. Alright, that rounds out the honorable mentions. Time for number 1. If you know me, this is so... Number 1 favorite Pokemon of all time is Ninetales. Ninetales, do I even have to say, is just pure class, elegance, fierce, ferocious, beauty, fear, scary, strong, everything. Freaking all these synonyms. So Ninetales, every time I have the opportunity to catch it in the game, I will. I've used it on my team so many times. The Alolan form is also breathtaking. Love the typing for that as well. But nothing will compare to me to the original Ninetales, the original fire type. The lore behind it, where there's like apparently like if you touch its tail, you'll be cursed for 1,000 years or something. That is fucking fierce. That is fucking hilarious. It's scary as hell. But yeah, you don't mess with Ninetales. It's gonna bite you in the ass. And I actually recently got a tattoo, my first one, and I got inspired from Ninetales. Yeah, it's sort of like a Ninetales mixed with a wolf. I just love the Kitsune lore, Japanese mythology. I love it. Alright guys, so that's going to be the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments again what your favorite Pokemon are. And without further ado, we're going to end this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye.